Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Today I wanted to read verse number 2 of Śrī-Rādhā-Rasa-Sudhā-Nidhiḥ with the commentary of my most beloved Gurudeva, Śrī Ananta Bābājī Mahārāja. Om Kyan Timinandasya Kyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha. So today, this is a very, very wonderful verse, number 2. And I will try to read it very slowly and nicely. And it is such a wonderful verse. And we will start right now. Yasya kadapi vasananjala kelanota danyati danya pavena kritardamani Yoginda Durgama Katir Madhu Sudanopi Tasya Namostu Vrishabhanu Bhuvo Dishe. What a wonderful, wonderful verse. I bow down in the direction of Śrī-Rādhā, the beloved daughter of Vrishabhanu. Even Madhusudan, Sri Krishna, who is difficult for the greatest yogis to attain, thinks himself crowned with success when now and then he is touched by the blessed breeze risen from the movement of the border of Swamini's dress. I bow down in the direction of Śrī-Rādhā, the beloved daughter of Maharaj Vrishabhanu. Even Madhusudan, Sri Krishna, who is difficult for the greatest yogis to attain, thinks himself crowned with success when now and then he is touched by the blessed breeze risen from the movement of the border of her dress. So now when we read this verse, we know it is about the glorification of Swamini, but actually when we read the Tika of my beloved Gurudeva's edition of Rādhā-Rasa-Sudhā-Nidhiḥ, we will find so much is there in these particular words, lines, quotes. So much. It is astonishing. It is called Invocation 2. First invocation was, according to Vaishnava standard, to Sriman Mahaprabhu. And now this is called Invocation 2, Rasa Varshini Vyakhya. This is the name of the Tika, the commentary of my beloved Gurudev. By the boundless mercy of Sriman Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Path has experienced Braja's lofty Ujjvala Rasa Bhakti and considers himself a manjari of Śrī-Rādhā, devoted to her service in the Nikunjas of Braja. Now this actually is a most astonishing sentence. We will see why. And again we have this Ujjvala Rasa Bhakti, which we explained yesterday, which means Manjari Bhav, Sadhana. This is the unprecedented gift of Mahaprabhu, Svabhakti Shriyam, devotion to the lotus feet of Swamini in the mood of her Manjari. Now here we see that Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Path himself considers himself a maidservant of Swamini. In his book, Shri Gaura Ganodesha Deepika, Sripad Kavi Karnapura has referred to Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati as Braja Leela's Tunga Vidya Saki. But when reflecting upon this book, Śrī-Rādhā-Rasa-Sudhā-Nidhiḥ, one sees a very wonderful expression of Radha Dasya or Manjari Bhav in Shripad's heart. Why? Because the mercy of Mahaprabhu is most magnanimous, audarya, and unlimited. Unlimited. This is a very, very, very profound and deep statement. And I was asked many times, how is this possible? And my good friend Advaita, who translated Baba's books, he's a very senior devotee and very good friend of mine. Like, I consider him a mentor in this way. he told me actually that by the mercy and by the kripa of Sriman Mahaprabhu, all his parishads received manjari forms. Now, I don't want to go into this detail because some may agree and some may not agree. This is not the point, but the point is fact. Fact is, the mercy of Mahaprabhu is unlimited and nothing is impossible for the mercy of Sriman Mahaprabhu to achieve. And you can clearly see, Baba is saying here, that when we read the book Śrī-Rādhā-Rasa-Sudhā-Nidhiḥ, we can really see the evidence that actually, although Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur may be Tunga Vidyasaki in one form, he most certainly can have another form as a manjari, unlimited. It is said in the Vedanta Sutra that the jiva who can get liberation can have as many forms as he desires. Of course, this is not the practice for Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas. We are concerned with manjari bhav sadhana, so we hanker for the desired seva as a kinkari. This is our desire. But by the unlimited mercy of Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, he experienced in his kinkari form this most beloved gift of Mahaprabhu. And Advaita Prabhuji, he showed me one very interesting line. I don't say this is blank evidence, but it is very interesting to read that. In Sriman Kavi Karnapur's Sri Chaitanya Chandrodaya, there is a very interesting part. It's like a theater play with deep, deep philosophical points. And when I read these points, these 2-3 verses from that wonderful theater play, Sri Chaitanya Chandrodaya, the rising moon of Sriman Mahaprabhu, I could very much understand that actually that it's very possible that these eternal parishad of Mahaprabhu, they can certainly experience manjari bhav in a kinkari form, in a manjari form, because, like I said, the mercy of Sriman Mahaprabhu is unlimited. In this play, we can see in act number 10, the last act of the theater play, Advaita Acharya is calling out to Sriman Mahaprabhu. He says in 278 verse, "What more may you do to please me, O Lord? You have revealed, the most confidential pastimes of Lord Krishna. Ujjvala, like we said here, Ujjvala Rasa Bhakti, he has revealed. You have crushed the age of Kali, and you have described the secret meaning of devotional service in pure love of Krishna. You have brought all auspiciousness to the devotee's expert at relishing the mellows of transcendental pastimes. You have openly revealed the ecstatic pure devotional love felt by Śrī-Rādhā, the crest jewel of all the gopis. I have one request. I think material piety, economic development, and sense gratification worthless and insignificant. I don't want impersonal liberation. I only want that in next life I may have the association of your devotees." So here Advaita Acharya is playing the role of a sadhaka, and he is praying to Mahaprabhu. So after Advaita Acharya very humbly put this request before Sriman Mahaprabhu in this wonderful theater play by Kavi Karnapur, who was very dear to Sriman Mahaprabhu. His father was Mahaprabhu's dear associate, Shivananda Sena. So then Mahaprabhu answers this plea, this prayer of Advaita Acharya to be blessed in his next life. Of course, he is an eternal associate of Mahaprabhu, but to teach us to have this desire, Mahaprabhu is answering with 2 verses, very, very interestingly. in Chaitanya Chatrodaya, Act 10, 280. O Acharya, I'm always absorbed in my blissful luscious pastimes, because he is Krishna, residing in Vrindavan, and I will give you all spiritual bodies suitable for joining me in these Vrindavan pastimes. That one remaining great duty I will swiftly perform. Sorry, heater is going on. I will swiftly perform. O Acharya, I am always absorbed in my blissful, luscious pastimes, residing in Vrindavan, because he himself is the Lord Krishna, in the mood of Radhika. And I will give you all spiritual bodies suitable for joining me in these Vrindavan pastimes. That one remaining great duty I will swiftly perform. In the next verse, 281, he makes a very, very wonderful promise. Those of you whose hearts are bound to me in this form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even if your rasas are friendship or servitude to Sri Śrī-Rādhā-Madhava, or even Lord Dvarakadish, or if your rasas are any other rasa to any of my other incarnations, I will make you into my eternally liberated associates in Goloka Vrindavan. Here Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes a very wonderful promise. Even if your rasas are friendship or servitude. Thus we can clearly see what rasa is he promising. Even if these other rasas are prominent, he will give you special unlimited mercy to enter into his most beloved rasa, which was never given before in Madhurya Rasa. Manjari Bhav Sadhana, Manjari Bhav Radha Dasya. Why else would he say, even if, even to those who worship any other of Krishna's avatars? So Mahaprabhu's mercy, I just wanted to state this, that Mahaprabhu's mercy is unlimited. And certainly, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, he was blessed. He was the recipient of the unlimited mercy of Mahaprabhu, and nothing is impossible. So even if he would be in one form Tunga Vidya, certainly in a Kinkari form he could experience the treasure by the mercy of Sriman Mahaprabhu of this Radha Dasya Rasa or Manjari Bhav. So continuing, rather, I just wanted to show this example that the mercy of Mahaprabhu is unlimited, even if we may not comprehend it. So we can understand from the evidence, from the more than 100 and so many verses of Śrī-Rādhā-Rasa-Sudhā-Nidhiḥ, we can see clearly the mood and the bhav of Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur was here in his Kinkari mood. More on to this later. So, we continue reading. But when reflecting upon this book, Śrī-Rādhā-Rasa-Sudhā-Nidhiḥ, one sees a very wonderful expression of Radha Dasya or Manjari Bhav in Sripad Prabodhananda Saraswati Pat's heart. He is the embodiment of Sri Gaura's compassion. In many verses of this book, we get to see Sripad's eager and charming prayers for service to Sri Radha. The highest and most cherished ambition for the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas is to attain Radha Dasya, or more specifically, my Gurudeva is now making the specific term, Radha Snehadika Bhavolasa Rati. Those who have more love for Srimati Radhika than for Sri Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad wrote the following: Sancharis yat samona va Krishna Ratya Suritrati Adhika Pushyamana Ched Bhavolasa Itiryate Bhaktira Samrita Sindhu 25128. My Gurudev translate this verse as follows: Among the friends of Srimati Radharani, some possess love for Radha that is equal, some sneha, to or wish a little less than for Sri Krishna. Sam sneha, Visham sneha. Sam sneha is equal love for both, Visham sneha is more love for Krishna. Love for Krishna is their sthayi bhav or fixed emotion. Krishna is their center of worship. Their sthayi bhav is expressed by love for Krishna. And their love for Radharani is a sanchari bhav, a fleeting emotion, coming and going. Their fixed mood, Sam Sneha equal love, Visham Sneha more love for Krishna, but their sthayi bhav is Krishna, is for Krishna. Shri Krishna, Krishna Rati, they have Krishna Rati, more love, and their sthayi bhav is the direction to the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. But those whose love for Sri Radha is greater than for Sri Krishna possess the love called Bhavolasa. So the Jiva Goswami in his commentary said, this is a very, very special case in Madhurya Ras, not anywhere else. In Madhurya Ras, this more love for Radhika, Radha Snehadika, not equal, both, not more for Krishna, but more for Radhika is a very special emotion. And it is not a sanchari bhav, it is a sthayi bhav, it is the fixed emotion of the mancharis. It's called Bhavolasa Rati. This Bhavolasa Rati is the sthayi bhav for those maidservants of Sri Radha whose love is greater for her. This is the most enjoyable and attractive subject matter for the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. Crystal clear. Shripad Raghunath Das Goswami Charan wrote the following very famous verse in Rajavilasa Stava 38. Tambularpana padamadana payodani danapi sharadbir brindaranya maheshwarim priyataya yasto shayanti priya Pana vreshta sakikula dabi kila sankochita bhumika keli bhumi shurupa manjari mukhastadasika sangshaye. I take shelter of those maidservants of Vrindavaneshwari Śrī Radhe headed by Śrī Rupa Manjari. We are Rupanugas. They provide for Śrī Radha's pleasure by offering tambula, betel nut, massaging her feet, bringing water, arranging love pastimes, and so on. Their roles allow them to enter and leave Śrī Radha's most secret pastime sites even more freely than the prana preshta sakis like Lalita and Vishaka and others. So here Raghunath Das Goswami, he is our Prayojanacharya. He points the navigator pointing to our goal. He clearly says that he wishes to be a manchari and not a saki like Lalita and Vishaki. He wants to be in the circle of those girlfriends of Radhikas, the mancharis, who always are with Swamini even in the most intimate and most secret pastimes. This is what is so unique about the mancharis. Their roles allow them. Radhika in Vilabhakusumanjali, Raghunath Das Goswami also says Radhika is not shy before her little mancharis, but she clearly doesn't want Lalita and Vishaka to enter these most intimate pastimes. But the mancharis certainly are allowed because of their submissive and seva concentrated role. They are the embodiment of seva. So they can enter. So after observing the abundance of that kinkari bhav, manjari bhav, in Śrī-Rādhā-Rasa-Sudhā-Nidhiḥ and finding Shripad in the form of Śrī Radha's devoted friend and maidservant, we shall try to taste the Rasa Madhurya here. So Baba takes us by our hands and leads us into the realm of Rasa Madhurya, the sweetest and highest rasa. We could be not more grateful. So this is so extraordinary. Shripad's experiences in his cherished Siddhadeha, his spiritual body, and his prayers as a sadhaka, both similar to Raghunath Das Goswami, sometimes Siddhadeha, sometimes Sadhakadeha, shall combine to give us one charming means to our end. So meaning those expressions in Sadhaka-vesh and Siddha-vesh can take us by the hands deep into the realm of Nikunja Madhurya Lila. Occasionally, when Shripad is in his Siddha Svarupa, in the consciousness of being a devoted Manjari of Śrī-Rādhā, he is blessed with sudden direct mystical visions of Lila and Seva. After the vision is over, in his external consciousness or sadhaka state of mind, he lovingly prays for Seva at Srimati's feet. In this way, he experiences each verse in sequence. So, and why is he praying and why is he playing the role of that sadhaka? To teach us how to eagerly pray, how to eagerly await that lopa entering into our hearts. And by reading these Mahavani, these great words of Saraswati Thakurji, we can, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, we can also develop this eagerness. In this way, he experiences each verse in sequence. Even in his sadhaka mood, the deep tone, the deep hum of Radha-dasa in his heart is present. He always feels that. He thinks of himself as a manjari of Swamini. For the sadhaka also it is necessary that this mood be awakened to some degree. So that means that we should try to at least have a glimpse of that beautiful nectar according to our adhikar. We can try our best to follow our Gurudev's instructions, and by Guru Kripa we can feel that mood slightly entering into our hearts. Meditation upon oneself in the Siddha Svarupa, revealed by one's own Guru, is the Buddha Shuddhi, the intelligence, this ground base intelligence for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And the definition of intelligence to identify with the Svarup our Gurudev has revealed to us. This is the platform for the aspiring Gaudiya Vaishnavas in Manjari Bhav Sadhana. Therefore, by adopting this meditation during Shravan Kirtan, the sadhaka will no doubt become competent to taste the abundant rasa maturi of this book. So Baba is giving here guidance that we should always be aware, avesh, of our Guru-revealed Siddha-deha as a manjari when reading the pastimes or the prayers of the acharyas. And so we can taste, according to our adhika, our stage, the nectar hidden and then revealed by the pure Vaishnavas like Baba and like the Mahajans. First absorbed in his sadhaka mood, he offers another Mangala Archana. Say Mangala Archana Haya Dribita Prakara Bastunya Desha Arsirbata Ara Namaskara. See Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 122. The Mangala Archana includes 3 processes: ascertaining the subject matter, giving blessings, and third, offering obeisance. In the verse under discussion, these 3 aspects of auspicious invocation, Mangal Archana, have been clearly expressed. Tasya namostu Brishabhanu Bhuvudishipi. I bow in the direction of Śrī-Rādhā, the beloved daughter of Brishabhanu. This statement is the obeisance, the namaskar. Yogindra Durgama Katir Madhusutanopi. This is the determination of the subject matter of this book. Śrī-Rādhā's exalted position is the subject matter. He who is difficult to attain for even the best of yogis means that endeavors to attain him by yoga sadhana and so on simply end in frustration. He can only be known through pure love, Raganuga Bhakti. That Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna considers himself blessed by the breeze risen, breeze means the whiff of wind, risen from Swamini's dress. Statements like these, proclaiming Śrī-Rādhā's glory, comprise the book's content. This is what the book is all about, the glory of Swamini, and we as sadhakas will nourish our Ishta to the lotus feet of our Ishta, Swamini, by reading these most wonderful glorifications. Our firm faith in the service to her lotus feet will then be established. And he can be known only through pure love. Who has the most love? Swamini. So if we follow Gurudeva and Guru Manjari, and we direct our attention to the lotus feet of Swamini, we will attain perfection. Not by yoga and not by any other process. That will only end in frustration. I offer obeisance toward the place where Śrī-Rādhā resides, that Nikunja of love, located on the banks of the Kalindi river in beautiful Śrī Vrindavan. This statement expresses a profound blessing that the desires of Vrindavan's rasa sadhakas will be fulfilled. This is the great mercy of the Mahāchans like Bābājī Saraswati Thakurpad. He offers these most wonderful benediction. Most wonderful. One may ask why a statement like Yogindra Durgama Gatir Madhu Sundanopi, which implies bhakti in Aishvarya Bhav, Madhusudan, would be placed at the beginning of a description of Śrī Radha Krishna's Mathurya Lila. In reply, it may be said that in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, in the description of the etymology of the word Madhusudana, we see the following. The word Madhu means good and bad karma. He who destroys both the good and bad karma of the devotee, or he who ultimately destroys the harmful but seemingly sweet karma of deluded persons, is called Madhusudan. Feeling humble, Shripad Saraswati Thakur thinks, while in my life as a Mayavadi, acting as a guru to countless sannyasis, I obtained the title Yogindra, King of Yogis, and I considered the inauspicious Mayavad to be the best of all teachings. Consequently, since Mayavadis are offensive to Sri Krishna, Madhusudan remained inaccessible to me. But that Madhusudan, so difficult for even the best of yogis to reach, has descended in the form of Sri Gora, mercifully refuting my harmful Mayavad theory and blessing me with the taste of Braja Ras. So here Prabodhananda Saraswati Pad, he is explaining his previous life as a Mayavad follower, being changed by Mahaprabhu into a follower of Braja Ras. Or the word Madhusudana, now comes the Rasika explanation, or the word Madhusudana can mean Madhu Pushparasam Sudayati Kandayati Madhusudanaha, meaning that Rasika bumblebee, Sri Krishna, who drinks the nectar of Sri Radha's lips. So these words have so many deep meanings. I heard one explanation from a great Vaishnava. It goes even deeper. What Madhusudan, even more deeper meaning of Madhusudan. But this was so intimate that even the assembly at that point he said it was not the right place, but he hinted at some points in the intimate Leelas of Radha and Krishna, the word Madhusudana has an even deeper meaning. Sri Krishna is difficult to attain for even the greatest yogis, like Mahadev Shiva. The pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna are difficult for even Brahma and Shiva to attain. Radha Krishnera Lila Go Tatara, verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 8, 201 to 202. The Lila of Sri Radha and Krishna is very deep, beyond the reach of Dasya, Vatsalya and other bhavs. Only the Sakhis, the girlfriends of Swamini, can participate in it, and from them it is expanded. Those girlfriends, these 5 groups of girlfriends among which the Manjaris are the most intimate, they expand the Lila, the Madhurya Lila. How may I be fortunate enough to taste the Rasa Madhuri of that Yogindra Durga Magadi, Madhusudan's Braja Lila? Thinking like this, by Mahaprabhu's grace, Shripad obtained a mystical vision of one Madhura pastime while absorbed in his Siddha Swarup. So, now Baba is leading us into a pastime, and like always, like we read before, we should be aware that we close our eyes, we read this, and we think ourselves to be present together with Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, with our Guru Manjari, as a Manjari in that pastimes, and we witness these most wonderful pastimes with an identification, not as this big Tarun Baba here, but as I try to imagine myself as a young female associate, a Kinkari, which is not easy, I admit, but the mercy of Guru and the mercy of the Vaishnavas will take us by the hand and bring us at least a little bit into these Leelas when we have this avesh, this awareness that actually I can also be there. I can also witness these one time. Now we can read it, and at one point we may experience them according how deep our love goes. Śrī-Rādhā Mata was sported in a secret grove of Vrindavan. Sukhamaya Vrindavane, Sukhamaya Shyam, Sukhamayi Radha Done Anupam. Verse of a Mahajan. Radha and Shyam are most joyful together in the blissful forest of Braja. After enjoying intimate loving pastimes with Krishna, Swamini sat upon the pleasure bed like a flower garland ravaged by a bumblebee. And we are there watching this. When Rasika Shiromani, the quest jewel of Rasikas, Krishna saw Swamini's fatigue, he felt compassion for her. This compassion is not like the compassion toward any other lover. A hint of the kind of compassion that Sri Krishna feels towards Śrī-Rādhā is found in the Sarangarangada commentary of verses like, now Sanskrit from, I think it's Bilvamangal Thakur from Krishna Karnamrita. To allay Śrī-Rādhā's fatigue from intimate pastimes, Sri Krishna fans her. And drinking the honey wine of her youthful beauty, his reddened lotus eyes widen with compassion for her. So he feels so much compassion to her that, oh my God, I have to revive her, I have to give her air, I have to give the air to Swamini and to make her comfortable. Here also we can understand that Sri Krishna is feeling this kind of compassion at seeing Radha's fatigue. In the mood of a Svatina Bhartrika, Srimati quickly demands, "Quickly dress and decorate me. If my girlfriends see me like this, they will all laugh." So here we have another interesting point, that Swamini is concerned not that the Kinkaris see her like that, but that the girlfriends like Lalita and Vishaka see her like that and make fun of her. So she is very shy in front of her girlfriends like Lalita and Vishaka, but she is not at all shy in front of the Kinkaris, like we will see. "Dress and decorate me. If my girlfriends see me like this, they will all laugh." Understanding the situation, her devoted maidservants, they are here. We are with her. She is not at all feeling something strange. We are there. We have the role to play. Our most fortunate gift is this role to play. Her devoted Kinkaris maidservants have arrived with sandalwood, aloe, musk, collyrium, lacti, and other materials for dressing and decorating her. Krishna dresses Swamini with great attention. When Swamini sees Krishna's profound absorption in dressing her, a very gentle smile comes to her face. The Kinkaris also smile as they cover their mouth with their cloth and giggle. Why, we will hear. While dressing her, Shyam repeatedly looks with tearful eyes at Swamini's beautiful face. His thirst for tasting the sweetness of her face is never satiated. Trishyan muhusmita sudam paripayitopi. Even though he constantly drinks the nectar of Srimati's smile, his thirst remains. After painting collyrium around Srimati's restless eyes, Krishna becomes agitated. The sight of her beautiful eyes cause a sattvika vikara to appear in his body, and his body becomes drenched in sweat. So the ecstasy in Krishna wells up, and he shows external expressions, and he starts to sweat. Svidyan driganta cha palanchala vichitopi. Though cooled by the sidelong glances of Srimati's restless eyes, he remains covered with perspiration. How wonderful is this, to imagine that the eyelashes of Radhika are fanning her beloved. Every part of her body is meant for seva to her beloved. Seeing Krishna so overwhelmed and perspiring as he dresses his beloved, Swamini gestures to Shripad in standing before her in the form of a kinkari maidservant to begin fanning him. So here we see that Swamini gestures. Swamini, by her, yes. Srimati gestures, not even with words. So the kinkaris are so tatatmya with Radhika that a gesture alone is enough to direct the kinkaris to perform their seva. And here Srimati gestures to Sripad Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, who is now standing there in the form of a kinkari, and with telepathically, you can say, she says to him in his kinkari form, begin fanning Krishna. By her skillful fanning of the kinkari form of Prabodhananda Saraswati, Krishna's drops of sweat and perspiration soon disappear. Then a very curious thought awoke in the kinkari's mind. They are very expert in seva, you will see. She modified her method in such a way that by fanning the body of Swamini, the flow of air also goes to Shyama Sundara. So the kinkari is fanning that actually the air is going also of Swamini, is touching Swamini, and is going into the nostrils of Shyama Sundara. The air is happy. Shyam thinks himself blessed by the touch of the breeze that bears Śrī-Rādhā's fragrance as it rises from the movement of her dress. So Prabodhananda Saraswati, as an expert kinkari, is fanning that way that Krishna also gets a whiff of the beautiful clothes, which are also expressions of Mahabhav. Nothing is not Mahabhav. So Krishna will inhale through his nostrils the breeze coming from the garments of Radhika due to the mercy, you can say, of the kinkari. The kinkari enables the Lord, who is not attained by any of these great saints, but a little kinkari, he makes him so happy that the breeze of Swamini's garments will enter his nostrils, and Krishna is overwhelmed with ecstasy. The air is happy. Shyam thinks himself blessed by the touch of the breeze that bears Śrī-Rādhā's fragrance as it rises from the movement of her dress. He considers this breeze to be extremely fortunate. Its name, Gandhavaha, the name of the wind, or aroma bearer, is very significant. It carries the extraordinary fragrance of Srimati's body, joined with the aroma of musk smeared upon her breasts. The wind is fortunate, he says, but I am not. Seeing Shyam's condition, the kinkari drowns in an ocean of joy. Why? Because he really had a perfect idea, and by the kripa of Swamini, this pastimes has been expanded by the kinkaris. One of Srimati's names is Gandhonmadita Madhava, she whose fragrance drives Madhava mad, and the kinkari knows that. And Radhika, she was planning the whole thing, and the kinkari, she executes that order. She whose fragrance drives Madhava mad. Shripad is appreciating the significance of this name in the realm of Leela. This name of Radhika, this beautiful, beautiful name, she whose fragrance drives Madhava mad. He was now a beautiful help in this matter, that the breeze can enter the nostrils of Shyama Sundara. Suddenly, the vision came to an end. Wailing loudly, he rose to his feet. Ha Radhe, where is your sweet Leela? Teaching us to always be eager to dive deep into this Leela Smarna. By the mercy of the Mahāchans and by my beloved Gurudeva, we have these Leelas right here. We can read them. They are translated. It only needs our effort. And by the mercy of our Gurudev and the Vaishnavas, we can do that. At least we can try. In his sadhaka mood, he humbly said, I bow down in the direction of Gandon Madita Madhava Śrī-Rādhā. Śrī Madhava, intoxicated with love for Śrī-Rādhā, also prays in that direction, saying, O direction, show me the love of my life. As far as the sadhakas are concerned, for those living in the outside world, the direction of Vrindavan is the direction only of Vrishabhanu Nandini. She is the queen of Vrindavan. For those who have taken shelter of Braja, the direction of Vrindavaneshwari is determined by the statements of Shastra and the Mahāchans concerning her presence in either Yavat or Varshana during various times of the year. So, for those who have taken shelter of Raj, the direction of Vrindavaneshwari is determined by the statements of Shastra and the Mahāchans concerning her presence in either Yavat or Varshana during various times of the year. This hints at Leela Smarna, where it is exactly like this eightfold pastimes of the day, where we exactly know which is where Radhika is right now. Is she in Yavat? Is she in Varshana? This we can all experience by reading these precious instructions. We can always know where Radhika is through the words of the Mahāchans. For those sadhaka who have taken shelter of Braja and are well established in Smarnam, so not me, wherever Srimati goes during her daily Leela is her direction. Sripad says, I bow down in that direction. So here we see that those expert in Leela Smarnam, there's this story where one devotee, he had the order to meditate on the eightfold daily pastimes, and he was so lost, and he was searching for a ring of Swamini, and he was looking for that ring, and he was so mesmerized by the beauty of that ring that he hours and hours and hours he was meditating on that ring and the pastimes according to it, that he could not go on. He stayed in that moment, and for hours he stayed at that moment, and his Gurudev said, you are blessed. This is the perfection. It is not a mechanical thing. It is ever expanding. It is ever blissful wherever you are meditating. It's not that this and this and this should not be mechanical. It came to the sadhu, and he stayed there, and he was mesmerized by the kripa of Radhika and her rings and jewels, and he was so much focused, and he stayed there the whole day, and he could not do more Smarnam. He was sad that he could not do more Smarnam, but his Gurudev said, you did the best Smarnam. So this is so wonderful that we have this possibility to be able to read such great granthas, such great literatures like Śrī-Rādhā-Rasa-Sudhā-Nidhiḥ and Vilapa-Kusumanjali, and dive deep into the nectar written there. So now when we read again the verse, we now know how much is in there. I bow down in the direction of Śrī-Rādhā. Now we know. Yavat, Varshana. The beloved daughter of Vrishabhanu. Even Madhusudan. Now we know the different meanings of Madhusudan. Sri Krishna, who is difficult for the greatest yogis to attain. Also now we know how he is to be attained. Thinks himself crowned with success when now and then he is touched by the blessed breeze risen from the movement of the border of Radharani's dress. Now we also know how this is possible, only by the Kinkary's clever seva attitude following the telepathic gesture of Swamini. They are so close, Tadatmika. They are so close that they can immediately feel the gesture and translate them in their hearts and execute the order. And like this fanning, this order that Krishna can be touched by the breeze risen from the movement of the Radharani's clothes, the Kinkari accomplished. So this is the extraordinary mercy of Mahaprabhu, that we as jivas can attain such a wonderful position when we reach perfection, to nourish and to expand the glorious love of Radha and Krishna. This is a high goal, we all know, but it's, what is it said? We should always aim high. And we always humbly pray to the lotus feet of our Gurudeva, so that we can progress on our journey through the various stages in bhakti, and always think ourselves, be aware of our actual identity as a Kinkari of Swamini. Thank you so much. Jai Śrī Rādhā.